Hi there, beautiful soul. My name is Samantha, if we've never met before, and I want to welcome you to my mystical online family. Feel free to subscribe because I'd love to see you more around here. Now, in today's video, I actually asked a question to my Patreon members. I asked if they would like to ask any questions and that I could potentially make a video around, and I had some really amazing suggestions and questions from my community, so make sure you check that out if you want to join and become more a part of the channel and behind the scenes. And I also have lots of guidance classes and things like that. You can check it all in the link below. And I had this amazing line of questions come through from Mia that I would love to share with you. She asked the question, it's about her spiritual awakening. Because my energy lately has been a bit low and I haven't had the drive to do everyday witchcraft practices, but I still feel like witchcraft is a big part of my life. It makes up 90% of my personality and who I am. My main message is about feeling lost and what I should do next. And there was also a question a little while ago about feeling sort of lost on the journey, about, you know, when I first started, I felt really, really connected to my ancestors, my guides, and now I'm not feeling that guidance. I'm not feeling that connection coming through. So I thought this would be a perfect question to start a video around and really talk about what happens when we feel lost on our spiritual path, when we feel like the guidance isn't coming through anymore. I think it's so important to remember that everyone's journey is completely unique to them. Some people have been, you know, super connected to spirituality since they were little. Other people had to go through religion and soul searching through like dogmatic practices that have been placed upon them. So like really patriarchal religions. I know that was my story. And there's so many different ways. You also could be an atheist and it was a huge, big thing, an awakening that happened in your life, like the birth of a child or the death of a loved one or some big shakeup. And some people are just feeling lost and stumble upon spirituality. So every person's path is super different. Your story is going to be completely different to mine. But I would just say to you to make sure you remember not to put pressure. Putting pressure on how messages are meant to come through, what your path is meant to look like, comparing yourself to other people, that can be really damaging to your process, to awakening, receiving messages and opening up. You have to really allow things to shift and not have an expectation on how it should come through. I would also say if you feel like you have low energy and you don't have the time, the space, the energy to be doing these elaborate practices or big rituals or spell work, that's completely okay as well. We're always going to go through highs and lows when it comes to life. Sometimes you may be going through a really hard time with your work, with your school, with your uni, with your family, with your partner. And that's going to take up a lot more of your personal energy, so you can't give it as freely to your spiritual practices, and that's okay as well. You know, this is a lifelong journey and you don't have to be at a certain place or be doing a certain practice. This is your practice and your life. It's one of the things that can be a bit hard in this new boom of new age spirituality. Like when I first started posting online, the witchcraft community and the pagan community and spiritual, it wasn't that big. Like everyone kind of knew each other and there was like really big accounts that people knew, and then TikTok came and boom, you have like this big surge of information being spread, and it's incredible. It's amazing that so many people are learning and growing and finding their faith and their spirituality and their practice of witchcraft. I think that that is freaking amazing, but it also means there's so much more information that's available now. There's so much more to compare yourself to, and we really need to work on our personal energy, keeping ourselves nice and grounded and remembering it's not a race. There's no place to be, there's no destination to reach. You're just living your life, and your witchcraft, your spirituality, your rituals should all slot into your life. You shouldn't put pressure on yourself to be anyone other than who you are right now. And we can absolutely aim to do more or plan some more rituals or plan some more spell work or whatever it may be. But I think it comes from a place of like, how much energy do I have at the moment? I'm not going to be hard on myself that I'm not practicing the way that I used to. This is just maybe my new normal for now. And then guess what? One day, because like all things, this too shall pass. The energy that you're in isn't going to stay that way forever. You know, one day it may get to a point where you've got too much energy and you find that you're back doing all of these different rituals and you're going, you're going nuts with it again. So yes, don't stress, don't put any pressure on yourself. And then the final part of the question was about spirit guides. So feeling like when we first started the journey, there was lots of guidance, but now maybe we feel like there's a little bit of a disconnection, like our ancestors and our guides aren't showing up as strong as they did when we first started the journey. And I'd say there's many ways you can answer or interpret this type of question. For starters, I think when we awaken, there's often lots of signs because that's the point of awakening. You know, we have this aha moment, like the mundane world, the everyday that I've been living day in and day out, day in and day out. There's so much more to it than just that. There is this whole other spiritual realm. I am so much more than my physical vessel. You know, the big third eye awakens. It's like, holy. So yes, there are so many signs when we first open, but I think too we have to go through periods where not that the guidance is not there, but where we have to take accountability for our journey here. Because if we rely too much on cards and readings and channeling and relying on the spirit realm altogether, we're not going to be living our lives. We have to take divine guidance and put it into action here on earth. I have been guilty of this, I tell you, doing cards, feeling really reassured in the moment, and then doing nothing about like putting that guidance into action. So then guess what? A couple of weeks later, sometimes a couple of days later, when I'm reading my cards all the time, then I do the cards again. I tend to pull the same cards or similar cards. It's like you're not getting the picture. We have to put the guidance into action. Otherwise, we're going to keep on getting the same message and it may start to feel like we're not receiving any guidance at all. I would also say sometimes when we feel stuck in life in general, whether it's the spiritual journey or something in your physical life, it's important to remember that stuck energy is meaning something needs to shift. Something needs to tweak, change, move a little bit so the energy can go flowing again. I like to think of it like a creek, you know? The creek can only flow if there's no objects blocking the way. And when we feel stuck, it's kind of like all of that energy is just like stagnant, it's not flowing. So if you're feeling that way in general, something needs to shift. The way that you're going about things clearly isn't working and you're feeling stuck, you're feeling a bit stagnant. So what can we do to help you shift your energy? It might be changing up your routine, getting up earlier or later, or maybe going down to the beach, getting out to a park. Most of the time, the answer to our questions is so simple. It's something's out of balance. We just need to be observant of what needs to be tweaked so we can get ourselves back into that like flow state again. And just in general, I want to say to you that your guides are always with you. Your guides will be with you from the moment you take your first breath to the moment that you take your last. That is what they have signed up to do in this incarnation for you, to be your spiritual team. And I think it's important that you also have the deities, the goddesses, the gods to call upon. And that's what prayer really is. You know, prayer has been taken by a lot of patriarchal religions, but prayer is our kind of like birthright as human beings to have connection and union with spirit, with the great spirit. I think some of us do a lot of prayer in ritual. It's like petitioning a goddess for something, but prayer is you stating your intention to the divine. Prayer is where we put out what we would like to receive, what we need help with. And when you don't pray, when you don't speak what you need out into the universe, how can we expect anything to change? How can we expect anything to shift if we're not actually stating out loud what we want or what we desire to shift and to change? So make sure that you start saying out loud, that you start talking to your guides. If you feel lost, tell them. I just the other day had a moment where I was like, this is enough. Like, I need help. I don't ask for help very often, but I need help with this situation in my life right now. I'm very overwhelmed. I've come to the point where everything I'm doing here, I've done everything I can, and I now need divine guidance, and I need my guides to come in and to shift something to help me move through something in my life. So maybe that's your calling as well, to actually have a bit of a conversation with the divine, with your guides, and ask for help. I hope this video was able to bring guidance for anyone who needed to hear these words and to receive this message. I think that it's so important to remember you're not alone on this journey, that so many people are going through the same thing. And that's the whole reason I asked my Patreon members, like, is there any questions you have? Are you going through anything that I can make a video on, so you can kind of see there's so many people out there that are also feeling this way and need to hear this guidance as well. Remember, you can check out my Patreon and become a member. It's all linked down below. I have a few tiers that you can look at and join. And I have lots of guidance classes. I talk about animal spirits and herbalism. And you can have your say in what videos I create in the future. Thank you so much for being here. Subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye, my loves. Love you.